What's up, everybody? It is Rustbeard, and today I would like to talk about the Titan Forged and why they could possibly be the key to many new allied races, especially with the new updates with the Earthen race that we're going to be learning a little bit more about in the War Within. Okay, so of course this would not be a new allied race video or a possible future addition to the character customization whatsoever if I didn't mention beards at some point, at least not on my channel. So that we'll get into here in just a little bit, and I will explain to you exactly why it makes even less sense now that I've thought about it that the Forsaken cannot have beards, or don't have beards currently. But before I get into all that, of course, I am going to talk about the Titan Forged and why we should be getting a couple of other races, or why we could get a couple of other races, because of the fact that in the War Within we're going to be getting the Earthen. The Earthen that we get in the War Within is, honestly, that's pretty cool, but that has heavy implications on what we could also get in the future, or what we might be getting here pretty soon, depending on how they want to pull it, how they want to stretch it. It doesn't really matter. First things first, one of the things that I want to talk about just at the forefront is the fact that these dwarves were pretty much just a splintered off faction of dwarves that kind of went off and did their own thing, and the Curse of Flesh did not quite get to them as badly as the dwarves that we can play as currently. At least that's how I'm understanding it. I think that for the races that I'm going to talk about here today, that could easily have been the case for any of them. They could have easily splintered off and done their own thing for a while. Some of these, actually most of these, the Curse of Flesh didn't actually touch whatsoever, because I'm pretty sure the Curse of Flesh only affected the Trogs, the Earthen, the Vrykul, and the Mechanomes. So that's all fine and dandy. Hear me out. The Earthen eventually became the dwarves, or the Titan Forged dwarves or whatever became the dwarves that we can play today. The Vrykul and the Stone Skin Vrykul and all that kind of stuff, they eventually became humans. And of course the Mechanomes eventually became gnomes, and so forth. I'm going to bring up Trogs, because Trogs, I think, would be an interesting race to have as an allied race. Not my first pick, of course. And I don't think they'd be anybody's first pick for that matter, so I think that the Trogs are probably less likely to become allied races than any of these other ones, because I don't think I've ever heard anybody be like, yeah, let's playable Trogs, let's do it. It is a possibility that the Trogs were able to kind of go off and do their own thing and create a faction for themselves, over time and evolution become more intelligent and so forth, create their own societies and civilizations and whatnot, especially underground, just like the Earthen that we're going to be experiencing in the War Within. Another less likely one, but also could very well be the same situation, the Giants. There's a lot of Giants that were created by the Titans, and I don't see why the Giants couldn't have been affected by the Curse of Flesh. I don't know why they couldn't have devolved much like the Vrykul did and just created more meaty, stocky, burly humans and stuff like that. Like the Kultirans, for example, but probably a little bit bigger. I'm talking like Tauren-sized burly humans, you know what I mean? That, I think, is a very good possibility, and I honestly wouldn't be opposed to that. To be completely real with you, I wouldn't really mind any other form of humans other than the regular base humans. I personally don't like playing humans in RPGs because I think they're boring. Sorry. Giant human, even if they were called lesser giants or something like that, that'd be cool. I would like that. I think that'd be sick. The Vrykul. This is where I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, because the Vrykul, big, proud, strength-driven warrior Viking dudes, okay? They are, I think they're a fan favorite. I think that a lot of people like the Vrykul, and I think that a lot of people would love to play a Vrykul in World of Warcraft. Now, their size might be a little bit of a challenge, so hear me out. Blizzard, please figure this out, because in the process of the Curse of Flesh and then moving into the evolutionary design that they are put into now as humans, there's no really solid evidence or reason why there couldn't be something that's in between a Vrykul and a human that could have been put off in their own little thing, their own maybe like halfway Curse of Flesh, like the Earthen kind of stopped their Curse of Flesh, you know what I mean? So maybe they could have stopped theirs like halfway through. Maybe they've got like a little bit of that earthen skin still, and the stone skin, the steel skin, and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't quite devolve so far into humans as the humans did. They could have definitely went off on their own, maybe in the South Seas, maybe going around to the other side of Azeroth and so forth. They could have made their own faction, and I don't see why we couldn't play as them. Now, the thing that I think could bring them into a faction, like the Horde, for example, is maybe these Vrykul, or these half Vrykul or whatever, did agree with the fact that they don't like the humans. They didn't like the tiny little fleshy dudes that were being created because of the Curse of Flesh, and they were part of the group that was just like, no, do away with those humans. Rejected. We don't want anything to do with them. They're not strong, they're weak, they're tiny, we don't like them, they're abominations. But instead, they went off on their own thing, and then once the Horde and the Alliance approached them or whatever, and they realized that the humans that they so shunned before, they don't want to be associated with them. So maybe they're just like, the Horde doesn't have humans, let's go join them. I don't know, it's a thing. Maybe somebody that knows a little bit more in depth about the lore and stuff can tell me that I'm a fucking idiot, but regardless, I think that's a thing that could happen. I would like to see it happen. Make it happen. Here's the other little tangent about that. So, the humans that we did get from the Curse of Flesh and the Vrykul coming over to Tirisfal, Vrykul, big, Viking, bearded Vrykul, coming over to Tirisfal, where Lordaeron is. Those humans definitely had beards, okay? They definitely had beards, and even if they were just children when they came over or whatever, when they grew up, they had beards. There's no way they didn't see their dads with these long, braided, glorious beards and not think to themselves, man, I want one of those when I grow up. And they did. There's no way they didn't. Now, those humans are probably descendants of the people that eventually created Lordaeron. And what happened in Lordaeron? Okay? The Forsaken, the Undead, the Undercity, Lordaeron, those humans that died and were brought back into undeath were descendants of those Vrykul. In one way or another, there is absolutely zero chance that their heritage or lineage or family trees or whatever did not show, to some degree, beards. They've got it in their genes. They have it. They have beards in their genes, and god damn it, they better get beards. On playable characters, I want Forsaken beards so effing bad. The more I think about it, the more it pisses me off that there is no beards for the Forsaken. And come on, man. Somebody get this video or my other video talking about beards for Undead to Holly Longdale. Please, come on. Somebody that actually knows how to get in contact with them and the World of Warcraft dev team. Can we please get these videos over to them? I don't care if this video doesn't get a ton of views. I don't care if it doesn't get 10 views. But if we have the right people view it, and the right people that are driven and passionate about beards as I am, we might get somewhere. We might move along and get some Forsaken beards. Let's do it. Share this video. Thank you. Anyway, moving on. The one that I think would be the coolest, in my opinion, especially for the Horde, because I do play Horde. Obviously, I'm going to be a little bit biased towards the Horde, but the ones that I think would be really cool are the Mogu. The Mogu were also Titan Forged, and I believe that they were created to carve out the rivers and stuff like that, and that's cool, but I also think that they were created to be a little bit more, like, flexible in that regard. I think they kind of like, they were created, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were created to do kind of like a little bit of everything, like a jack of all trades kind of thing. But my point is, I don't think that the Curse of Flesh affected them, and if it did, let me know. But there's no reason why they couldn't have had a faction of them split off, just like the Earthen that we're going to play in the War Within, and the Curse of Flesh affected those. Also, with the talk of a 5th old god and all that kind of stuff, and maybe it was Xalatath, probably is Xalatath. I also don't think that's been indefinitely confirmed either. It's heavily, heavily, heavily implied. I still think that it's a possibility that a 5th old god could have also cursed some of the races that didn't get cursed before. I think that'd be cool. I'd love to play as like a half Mogu kind of thing, or even if just a smaller Mogus, you know, because I'm pretty sure they have smaller Mogus in Pandaria. There are smaller versions of Mogus all over the place that easily could fit into the playable race kind of thing. I'd love to see it. Let me know in the comments what you think. And then, of course, the last thing, goblins, I believe, were created from Mimron, and Mimron created them as an experiment of some kind. I don't know, but my point is, I know we already have playable goblins, but we could definitely get some sub-races of goblins. I like the goblins. I think they're pretty cool. Not my favorite race, but I think that the goblins have potential, and they have really cool lore. Their upbringing and the battle between them and the Zandalari, and just in general, the cartels of the goblins are immensely cool to look into. If you haven't, or if you don't know a lot about the goblins and you kind of think they're a little bit whack, go watch some lore videos on the goblins, and I can almost assure you it'll change your mind, at least a little bit. They are insanely powerful, insanely important to the Horde, and at one point they were very important to the Alliance as well. They might still be, I could be wrong about that. The goblins are cool. There's no reason we can't have mecha goblins either. If we could have mecha gnomes, we could have mecha goblins. Come on, guys, make it happen. Make it happen. That's my little bit of a rant today. I was just watching some videos, and it was an old video that I'd seen before, but I wanted to watch it again just to kind of refresh my memory with the Earthen coming into the forefront here in the War Within. So I wanted to watch a video to kind of refresh my memory on just how they came into be, why they are not dwarves and stuff like that. And then I started to think, and I was like going down a rabbit hole, and I was like, yeah, the Curse of Flesh affected a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure humans were one of them, and I'm pretty sure a faction of Vrykul came over with their fleshy kids, pretty much, into Tirisfal, Lordaeron, and then that's what made me want to create the video about the beards, but I wasn't going to do a whole video about beard customization on Forsaken. However, guys, come on, get it straight. Let's do this. If you like this video, make sure you give it a giant thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel. It's free. It's a free way to support the channel if you liked this video or anything that you saw in this video whatsoever. Also, if you are interested in podcasts, I have 2 podcasts. One is called On Thin Ice, and it's where me and my buddy, we go over some funny icebreaker questions and just go off on tangents. They're super fun, and we have a good time with them. And the other one, if you are into heavy metal or movie franchises or horror movies of any kind, we talk about that kind of stuff on From the Crypt, this podcast right here. And we have our Five Nights at Freddy's video out already. We just started, so we're kind of we only have a few things out right now. And then this Friday coming up, we will have a deep dive on Slipknot, just as a band as a whole, some of the controversies that's been going on lately in their scene. We talk about the whole Jay being fired and all that kind of stuff, as well as just overall having a good time talking about Slipknot. With that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.